Hi everybody, and welcome to a new video at Noel's Spare Parts. And this started because I'm preparing the video for the main channel. And one of the things that I wanted to get was a Commodore 64 NTSC. And I thought I had one, but not quite. So we're just gonna spend today's snowy day. So we're just going to spend some time very informally looking at this computer and a bunch of boards that I have, trying to get something together, maybe find something interesting. I don't know, this is not scripted, there's no story arc. It's more like I'm inviting you to come over to the lab, sit with me, and hang out while I'm doing this. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, this started because, as I said, I thought I had a Commodore 64 NTSC, and I do, but I turned it on and it just doesn't look good. And I thought, well, maybe it's my TV, this CRT TV. I know it has a little divergence, but I don't know, the colors are just weird, right? It's not supposed to be, I'm used to the PAL Commodore 64, so I'll be able to instantly tell you, but this just doesn't look right. The contrast is minimal, it's all blue. There's usually a little bit more red to it, so didn't quite look good. So I popped in the Diagnostics card. It takes a little while to come up, as usual. So this is stuff that I've done before, obviously. I know what's coming. The rest is just going to be unscripted, unprepared. And so, yeah, look at this. It's just horrible. There's huge ghosting everywhere. I mean, it's almost like a full character over this green line. The zero in here, the blue, you can almost see it a whole character over. That doesn't look right at all. And you run the tests and it passes, even though I don't know why it starts with a red border. But it goes through the whole thing and everything's fine. So yeah, when this happened, I just thought, well, maybe this just really doesn't work very well with this TV for whatever reason. The thing that made me realize that I need to do something else was when I put in the Kung Fu Flash, which is a great flash storage, cartridge-based storage with an SD card. And so it's pretty curious because it comes up just fine. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that music later. So I can press one of the buttons to go to the menu, and this happens. And that's not good. Yeah, you can't even go, you can't reset it, you can't. So there is something subtly wrong about this computer. So let's go in the lab and let's look at a pile of spare boards that I have in there. And I'll tell you the story where they came from and we'll go through them and all of that. So let's check it out. So here we are at the lab. And actually, before we even look at the other pile, check this out. This is the same computer, and I'm going to use it with my test TV here. This is an LCD, just an old Samsung LCD TV that I have for testing. It's actually attached to the wall, which is kind of nice. And when I turn it on, it just doesn't look nearly as bad. I mean, it's still washed out, but the colors are a little bit more the purplish border and letters. It's a little bit more like I remembered. And when you put on the dead test cartridge, it doesn't have nearly as much ghosting. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, that's almost okay. So yeah, that made me think, wow, is it that TV? It turns out it's not, because that's as far as I got. But this is where it starts getting interesting. And by the way, I'm not saying we're going to get to the bottom of this at all. We're just going to be looking at some boards. So yeah, anyway, it's looking a lot better on the test TV that we're going to be using for testing a bunch of other things. So, but it's not perfect. I mean, there's still some slight ghosting, and the contrast was off. It was definitely low contrast in the basic screen. Okay. All right. So this is what we have in here. And I guess I'm going to pull it out one at a time. We have spare case. So actually, all of this, by the way, this was a very generous donation from Eric. He's one of the first people who greeted me when I moved back to Massachusetts. He's like, oh, you're more or less in the area. And he wanted to donate several things for the channel. So he gave me the semi-working Commodore 64 along with the whole box of spares that he had. I guess he figured he wasn't going to be doing much with those, and that's the kind of stuff I love. So that was fantastic. Thank you, Eric. So yeah, we have a case actually, really good condition. I mean, I have piles of cases of Amstreds and Spectrums on my Spain lab, and they typically are like leftovers, really damaged, not serviceable, but that's great. You can totally make a very nice Commodore out of that. We have another full keyboard, which is awesome. Some RF shields. Yeah, I don't need those. I know some people keep those and like them and stuff, but not me. Another keyboard. And this looks like the board of the keyboard. Some keys are missing. Is this missing here? No. So this is a spare one. Okay. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Two full, almost full keyboards and cases. And then we have this. These are, what is that? 4 Commodore 64 boards. Not in a bad condition at all. They're pretty good. Okay, so what do we have here? This is a slightly late revision. It's not one of the earliest boards. And most of them are missing the PLA and the SID chip, which is totally fine. I fully expect that. And, apart from missing those chips and a ROM, that's maybe the character ROM, it looks in great shape. It's clean, no rust. I mean, that looks good. Right, so this is an earlier revision board. Do they have the assembly number? Yeah, this is 326298, whereas this one was 250407. It's kind of interesting that this is a later or larger number, but this is 1982. It's 1983. Yeah, so this is definitely the earlier version with the bigger section for the VIC 2 chip, and again missing the PLA and the SID, but looking good. And both of them have the bottom of the case, which is interesting. This one is just the board and the RF shield, but it's been soldered in there, so that will go away as soon as they do anything with that. So yeah, this is the same revision as this one, I think. 250407, yep. And again, missing those 2 chips, nothing else. The fuse, fuse is missing there as well. And, so it was 5 boards, not 4. This one is missing a few more things. So it's missing the RF modulator, which is fine, except that I know there are some models that in order to get the video out, you need to have the RF modulator because somehow the connections are going through there, the composite signals going through there. I don't remember. I don't think it's all revisions, so I don't know if we'll have to put something there or not. But I didn't check. I'm assuming we have VIC 2 chips in all of those. We have one in here. Those are some expensive chips as well, although they're sure to be replacements. SID and PLA gone, and the 6502 is also, the 6510 is also gone, the CPU. So this might be, okay, so definitely some stuff happened here. The power connector is also gone along with the switch. So yeah, this is probably going to be just a donation board, but it has a lot of good stuff in it. And finally, so this one has also been quite scavenged and has some rust and stuff, but still pretty reasonable. And the VIC 2 chip, which is great. But yeah, it's missing all the ROMs, PLA, SID, and CPU. So along with the fuse, and is it missing something else? Oh, and interesting, right, and this is even a later revision. This is 1984. So assembly number 25425. Yeah. So a few different revisions. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of rust in there, or maybe it's just dirt, or a combination of both things. So, but this should give us lots of options for different things. What I want to do is just test some of those and see, do they work, do they not work, how do they compare to the other one. These two I'm going to leave for last, even if I have to get to those. They're missing a lot of parts. I mean, this is just the ROM, so that's not bad. So yeah, this one I'm definitely leaving for last. I don't think I'll even be able to test that one. I mean, if we really want to, but I don't want to be putting an RF modulator there. So we'll do it last, if anything. And let's just start with the ones that need the least amount of work. So this one really only needs a PLA. Things run fine without the SID. So let's try that one first. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's look at the revision of the board of the one that is working. So this is the one that we looked at. So it's the earlier one with the larger area for the graphics chip. And yeah, so I knew that it had, obviously we heard it too, the SID and PLA, so it has everything. And yeah, so this is similar to another one of the ones that we have in there, but it's interesting as the earlier one. Now I'm curious what kind of VIC chip it has, because I saw that one of the ones that we looked at earlier had one of the gold pin ones, and I think that's the earlier version of the VIC chip, which graphically is not as good. I don't think we'll be able to see that just on the basic screen, but I know it has less color resolution. I don't know if it's like one less bit per color channel or something. So let me just pick in here. Aha, so it is one of those VIC chips, VIC 2 chips with a golden pin. So I think, yeah, that is the first revision. And in general, it doesn't have as good video quality. I still think that the basic prompts should be better than it was. But yeah, it's something we can always try. I'll put this back for now just so I don't forget. Right, so what I was saying is for the PLA, I don't have any spare PLAs, but I do have PLA replacements. So we could use those. I have never tested them on an NTSC Commodore 64, but I think they're exactly the same, so I don't think there should be a problem. But these are the ones with round turned pins, and those will often damage a little bit those sockets. So I think just for initial testing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass around the working PLA that we have, and it's not a particularly, I mean, it fails a lot, but I don't think it's a chip that fails a lot with static. And, you know, just to be extra sure, I can connect myself to this, which I wasn't doing before, but at least this is grounded. So there we go. We got this in place. And now we can just more comfortably move around the PLA from here to here. So the other thing that is important when dealing with different board revisions is not to get the PLA and the SID slots confused, because the SID slot in this version has 12 volts going places, so that would be bye-bye PLA. So it's U17, let me just triple confirm, yes, U17, so yes, right there. Okay, so yeah, the SID we don't care about right now. We need a fuse. I don't know if I have spare fuses. You know, I'll just take this one as well. And as far as I know, that's all it's missing. Let's check what kind of VIC chip we have here. Oh, interesting. So it's the same revision, even says it in here. Yeah, I don't want to remove the thermal paste, although no, it's not completely dry. How about that? It says the revision in there. Oh, it says R8. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember my numbers right now of those things, but all right, let's put it back. Let's see what happens. Okay. So we get nothing. No signal whatsoever. I mean, no, we are getting a signal, but we're not getting any image. I should probably be making notes of this and putting it down because there's a lot of boards and I will get confused otherwise. So this is not so much no image, but black image, because there we detected a signal. So I'll just write black. That could be, well, I was gonna say bad PLA, but no, we know the PLA is working. Right off the top of my head, I mean, it could be a bad VIC-2 chip, but those don't fail a ton. So yeah, probably just some random stuff. Fortunately, when Commodores fail, they can do all sorts of weird things. So, okay. But we can certainly get a lot of chips from this one, but this feels that it should be definitely fixable. All right, oh yeah, I need to get the PLA and the fuse from there, but what is the next easiest thing to test from here? So we need to remember, this is our working one. If I don't write it down, I'm gonna forget. Okay, working. Well, not kind of working, because this is the one that has the problem with the Kung Fu, right? So, Kung Fu problem. But so far is the best one we have. Okay, what is the next easiest one to test? Probably this one. So same revision as the one we just saw. Needs fuse and it needs the PLA. Okay, we're getting signal. Oh. So, I mean, that seems to be working. But that image looks very much like the other one that I was complaining about, the image that looked a little better here, but it looked really bad in that monitor. So I'm starting to wonder if that is normal for NTSC computers of this revision to just kind of have a really bad composite signal. And maybe that's why people are going really gung-ho about trying to get S-video out of the Commodore 64, because maybe it just this looks this bad. My experience is mostly limited to PAL computers, PAL Commodore 64, so they certainly don't look like this at all. But okay, it's cool that it's working. Just for fun, let's see if this works with the Kung Fu flash, or if somehow it has the same problem, or I grabbed, maybe I really got confused and I grabbed the wrong board. Let's see. Okay, that's Commander is not playing any music because we didn't put a SID. Yes, okay. Okay, so bring up the menu. Okay, so yeah, this one seems to work fine. Yeah, and the image quality on this computer is fine. I'd be curious to see what this is like on the other TV, except that I don't want to change the camera right now. Okay, so that seems to be working okay. So working. Fuzzy image question mark, because I'm not really sure. Okay. So if nothing else, that could be the NTSC C64 that I use. Okay, next up. This one has a fuse for a change. Newer revision, missing the RAM, the ROM, and the PLA. So for the ROM, I'm just gonna grab it from another board as well. Those ROMs are not a big deal. They often go bad. I see online that people are saying they don't fail very much, but I've had them fail a lot. And they're kind of weird, really low amount of very few bytes. and weird pinouts, so they're not really compatible with the more standard 27C 128 and all that, which are larger. So that's why I have those PCBs. They're adapters to convert them into whatever it is, whatever those numbers are. But yeah, those are great for that. Otherwise, you need to do weird botches. I have some videos about that in the main channel. Okay, we have signal. And okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This is what the basic prompt is supposed to look like. This feels brighter, more contrast. I bet you that looks good in the CRT monitor. But this also has the different... Did we look at this one? Let me see what kind of a VIC-2 chip that has. Aha, this is not a gold pin one. So this is I think it's a later revision with a better image quality. I wonder if it's related to that or if it's just related to the new circuitry. I don't know. So some of you, I'm sure, are NTSC Commodore 64 experts. Let me know. I'd love to know if that's just something bad or is normal for that weird or that older revision of the board. So this seems to work great. Let me just pop in Kung Fu Flash in there. Yep. And even that looks sharper. Can go in there, no problem. Okay. I'm liking this one. And then we only have one more. So yeah, fair amount of rust in this one. It's missing all the ROMs. It's missing the cage in here. So yeah, I mean, I have sometimes removed it as well because it makes it difficult to get to it. But wait a second. What is this? What is this? So apart from me not knowing exactly what this is, I mean, it almost looks like one of the things that helps filtering, not a capacitor, but they have some like ferrite things. But it looks kind of big. But then it's going from the inside of this cage to the outside. So that wasn't like that at the beginning. I mean, this clearly, there's no way they would have shipped this version. And it's the same assembly as that. Yeah, no. So this is an added modification. I don't have high hopes for this one. Oh, and I should have removed the cable. Yeah. But, you know, we're here. Might as well try it. Oh, wait, U17 is here. Wow. That is so dangerous. That's right. So U17, the PLA is up here. But in this version, U17 is here. Yeah, wow. Almost fell for that. We don't seem to get anything. Why am I not surprised? Yeah, no signal. I never know if those LEDs go one way or another. Oh, okay, so it was the other way. But we don't even get a signal. So that's a deeper problem in this one. It could be here. I mean, you know, if they're messing with this, who knows what's happening there. Could be bad VIC-2. I mean, actually, I take it back. Maybe not having the ROM doesn't initialize things properly. So let me just put the diagnostic test. I think this works without a ROM, although I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it doesn't even put up a signal. This is the kind of problem that I would have to diagnose with scope. So we'll just put that one aside. Doesn't inspire me with confidence, so much rust in there and everything. I'll just take that and put it in the box with the other things. I bet you we can definitely scrounge up at least 2 working ones out of this pile. And then a bunch of really good parts. Is no video. Okay, that's all the boards, but I'm just gonna check one more time that this one is still working Great. Okay, perfect. So we haven't messed anything up by putting in that bad board. That always scares me a little bit. Cool. Actually, I think I'm gonna take this camera so I don't have to move it and try it on the CRT, the one that we were, actually both of them. I just wanna see what they compare, how they compare to the earlier image that we saw. And in case you're wondering, yes, it's still snowing outside. It's supposed to be snowing for the rest of the day and all night. But we're only supposed to get a couple inches of accumulation, so not a big deal. Okay, I got the 3 boards here that I want to try. This is our best one so far, the working one, but I also have this other one that I'm curious about, the fuzzy image, see if we have the same problem with a CRT monitor. And then this is the one that we saw originally in case we need to go back and forth. So let's see if I have everything here. Yeah, so this should just work, and let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, big difference. This is very sharp, very, very nice colors. This was really horrible with the Diagnostics cartridge. Let me try that. Yeah, look at that. No ghosting there, no ghosting there. Those things were very, very obvious earlier. So yeah, this one looks great. Huge difference in image quality. So now I wonder, is it just the revision of the board or is that something else? So next, let's try this one. This is the other one that is the same revision as that weird picture that we had, but this one, it looked a little not very contrasty on the LCD, so I'm afraid it's going to be very similar to that one. And then that way we'll know for sure if there's something wrong with that or just somehow that revision, they're all that bad. Okay, so let's see this one. Whoa, that is not even syncing. Wow, that's even worse than the other one. But this one was okay-ish on the LCD. Interesting, unless I've messed something up. Let me try the dead test cartridge. Oh, actually, never mind, I'm a moron. There's no character ROM in there. No wonder that didn't work. Okay, let me put one and test again. Okay, there we go. So, 2 interesting things. First of all, now we know what it looks like when we don't have a character ROM at all. We just get, it works, we just get garbage instead of characters. Kind of makes sense. And this looks about as washed out as the other one, I think. So let me see with the Diagnostics cartridge. Wow, so it's the same thing as the revision of the board. I mean, look at that line and yeah, look at that 0. It's exactly 1 character over. How interesting. So yeah, I bet you something with the revision of the board, potentially the RF modulator. Maybe this is one of those versions that the signal goes through here and then that is affecting that. So maybe removing that and patching the signals through, or they may have to get some intensity lowered or something like that. But so it looks like both boards are probably working. Okay, well, this one, we had the problem with the Kung Fu. So that's a pretty somewhat complex problem, I think. But this one maybe is completely working, just has bad image quality. I suppose I could try a different VIC-2 chip. Actually, let me try that really quickly. Okay, can't do this holding the phone and trying to remove it at the same time, but I'm gonna remove it and put this version of the VIC-2 chip. That's the one from the computer that we like the image quality. Okay, I have the new VIC-2, the other one is out, and with the Diagnostics cartridge in, let's see what that image looks like. You know what? It definitely looks better. There's some ghosting, but not nearly as much. So that early version of the VIC-2 chip, it's not just that it has lower bit, lower color resolution, which is what I had read, but yeah, even just for the quality of the signal itself is much, much worse. Interesting. Okay, so these are the 2 boards that we have. I guess we figured that this is not really a fuzzy image, but this is normal for this particular revision and version of the VIC-2. It may be interesting to check it out with the RF out. I wonder if this early version was optimized for RF rather than composite, and that's why it looks so bad. In any case, I grabbed the character ROM from one of the other boards that is destined to being 4 parts and already had it socketed, so that's really convenient. The only thing we're missing for this to work is a PLA, so this might be a perfect use for this. I'm just gonna put it in once and not take it out again, so it shouldn't damage too much the socket, or it shouldn't matter. So U17, yes, still that one, hasn't changed. And this is actually my first time trying this on an NTSC Commodore 64. I don't remember reading anything saying it wouldn't work, but let's find out. Okay, fuse, PLA, ROM, everything is fine. So let's see. It should come up. Okay, perfect. So the PLA, at least for the basic prompt, seems to be working fine. Still fuzzy, but we're saying that's just the VIC-2. So really all these two systems need now is a SID chip each, which those are, as you may know, very expensive to get. So this is why I'm doing that video about SID chip replacement. So I have a whole box here of chips that I either bought or I got parts for, and I'm going to do a test of all of them. So that was the whole motivation for what I'm doing today. Let's see, of the 2 boards that are not working, this one has a black signal. That seems an easier one to diagnose. This one seems like a pretty complicated one with the Kung Fu flash reset. I'll have to read about it, see what exactly signal is using, but without knowing more about it, that seems a potentially trickier problem. And then this one, we're saying I'm probably just gonna use it for parts. I mean, it's a shame because the board is in beautiful condition. This is the one that I'm definitely saving for parts. This one looks to be really dirty and rusty. So yeah, this one, and it has this weird thing in here. So this one, I won't even attempt to. This one might be worth repairing at some point. And for sure this one. And those. So I'm not gonna attempt it right now, but maybe I can do another low-key repair session instead of just looking through the boards. Now that we know what's happening, save it for another time and we can do a repair session if you guys are interested. So just let me know if that's something, because I don't think, unless there's something really interesting, I don't think any of those things would, at this point, be interesting enough for a main channel video. That's, yeah, just everyday repairs doesn't seem to be the thing driving the main channel. And I know some of you still enjoy it, and I enjoy doing them. So this might be a good outlet for it. And so part of the reason that this whole thing got started is because I wanted to try the SID music on an NTSC C64. And so this is, to me, this was shocking. Hearing wow, here I was going crazy. I don't know if you can see it from this camera. Look how I put the PLA. Whoops. These are the things that happen sometimes. Let's see that. Okay. Whew. Thought I broke something. Okay, back with the SID. And Kung Fu Flash. So when I first heard this, to me, this sounded totally wrong. So this is the Commando music by Ron Hubbard. I'm totally used to this from the PAL system, and the PAL system is running at 50 Hertz. And this is running an NTSC at 60 Hertz, And the music is also playing refreshed at 60 hertz. So it's actually 20% faster than the PAL system. And I guess I have the high moral ground that this was composed with PAL in mind. Rob Hubbard was from the UK. But I totally get it that people who grew up with this music, they think this is normal. And they listen to the PAL Commodore Commando. And they're like, that is so slow. So, I mean, it sounds great. Love the music. But yeah, let's pull out the PAL system and you can hear what I'm talking about. Except that the PAL system is not going to work in here. Will it work? I've never tried it. What's the worst that can happen? So I know that when you put an NTSC system on some PAL displays, sometimes you still get the luminance, but you don't get the color. Well, could be interesting. Let's try it. So one really nice thing is that both PAL and NTSC versions use the same power input. So it's the usual 9 AC and I forget what else was in there, 12 volts or whatever. So I don't have to do anything special. I can just use the exact same thing for both of them. Do you recognize this one? This is the one I painted, I don't know now, it's like 3 years ago. And I liked it so much that I brought it with me and I have it up there in the shelf. And yeah, so, and it's really handy now because now the blue one is the PAL system and the normal one is the NTSC one. So, oh, and this has the DIN, it's not a DIN 5 anymore, it's like a DIN 8. So I need a different cable, but the power is the same. Okay, so before I even put on command or anything, I just want to see the basic prompt in here. If it even comes up, it may not sync because of the PAL. Yeah. Okay, so this TV just will not even sync at 50 hertz. So that means I need to go back in the other room and do it there. And actually, you know what? It's easier to just bring the monitor here. And obviously that runs at 220 volts, so I need the converter. Oh, there we go. So let's try it with the, and of course this is flickering because I haven't changed the camera to be 50 hertz. That's when I'm filming something that uses a lot of 50 hertz, like an Amstrad video or something, I need to change my camera to PAL mode. And then, I don't know, I guess YouTube just interpolates or maybe displays it at 50. Yeah, it probably displays it at 50 FPS or 25. So yeah, so let's put Commando here now. See what difference that makes? And this is what I grew up with. And even though I did not grow up with Commodore, for me, I played this a lot in the Amstrad. And the Amstrad, I'm gonna be the first one to admit, it doesn't sound as good with an AY chip, but it still sounds really good. And the tempo is definitely this one. Yeah, fantastic game. And I'm gonna give it to Commodore for this one. This one is definitely better on the Commodore, music, graphics, everything. Cool, so mission accomplished. I have a working PAL Commodore 64 and an NTSC Commodore 64, even two different boards if I have to do that. And so next step is to then finish preparing the video for the SID shootout or test or whatever. And yeah, I'll definitely be comparing it in both. So that should be pretty interesting. One more thing that I forgot. You see, this is not scripted, totally disorganized. I'm loving Kung Fu Flash even more every day. When I first got it, maybe a couple of years ago, I think you had to choose to put a PAL or NTSC firmware. Now it's a unified firmware and it detects which of the two systems it is at startup. So it probably just checks the frequency and depending of one or the other, it switches automatically. So it's awesome. Like I didn't have to do anything. I just plugged it in one or the other and that's just super convenient. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this rambling video, kind of like hanging out in the lab. It's still snowing out, but it's not getting much of accumulation. And I will see you next time, probably in the main channel. Bye.